There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.
Test, test. Oh my goodness. Hopefully you can hear me. Looks like it's better. Okay, looks like we were just having some trouble with audio there for a second. So we're going to fix this. Going on. Looks like we're having better audio now. We've been having all sorts of technical issues today. I apologize for us getting on so late this morning from our usual time. But want to make sure that we are getting this information out to you here for today. So I'll keep an eye on the audio. If you are watching live and you see the audio drops out, feel free to pop back in. I've got a couple of folks here saying they have no sound. Okay, I think I can hear my sound through Facebook as well. So thank you so much, everybody, for your patience today. I do want to make sure we get in our sponsor. Welcome to this Valley News Now weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. And yes, we have been having some issues here from a technical standpoint, so I want to make sure we're getting things out to you here this morning. With the snow that we've got moving through, we've got issues with wind as well, and the possibility, or the likelihood, I should say, of that Arctic air taking over. That's pretty much a guarantee that we're going to be seeing that in the next several days. So we do have some first alert weather days. You can see that behind me here. So I'm going to step over and keep an eye on our audio levels here, make sure that we're still good to go. Looks like we're still doing okay. But again, a reminder, our first alert weather days are for Friday, Saturday, into Sunday morning. That doesn't mean we don't have active weather going on outside of that time. We just don't want to have a first alert weather day 5 days in a row here in the Valley. We don't want to get first alert weather day fatigue. So we're highlighting the days that are going to be the coldest here in the forecast. So we're looking at dangerous cold going on for us as we are working our way into tonight. We'll see that Arctic air blasting in. We're going to see some sub-zero temperatures for several days in a row. And then on top of that, looking at those wind chills that get down to that 40 to 60 below fright time or wind chill range. And that's what we're first alerting you to when we'll see those kind of wind chills. Frostbite in a matter of just a few minutes if you're not properly dressed for it. So again, first alert weather day ahead. Here's our latest alert. We've got a winter weather advisory that remains in effect here for us this afternoon, continuing on into this evening. For snow and blowing snow, we've had several rounds of snow the last couple of days. That adds up. And then on top of that, we've got some wind gusts into that 40-mile-per-hour range. And you can see on our sky cam here, again, we're looking at some gray skies. We've had bouts of snow. We've had clouds working their way through. That's going to continue to be a factor, but then there are areas that see some breaks in the clouds as well here this morning. And this is our view from, I should say this afternoon again. This is our view from West Fargo, and you can see our camera shaking in that wind that's picked up in that area. And so looking ahead here, we'll move on to our road conditions here. Actually, I'll take this full screen for you. You can see that we've got a lot of places in the blues and the pinks. And actually, we'll go to our website. I want to show you road conditions via our website. That's where we're looking at the possibility for being able to see some of the details on the road conditions. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. Okay, so this is our website. You go to valleynewslive.com. And actually, I'll go back a step. This is our weather homepage. It's valleynewslive.com/weather. And then right at the top of the screen here, we've got all sorts of things you can choose, including the road conditions tab. And that pulls up the tri-state area and Manitoba as well. So we'll start with North Dakota. And you see we got a lot of purple on the map, and that means snow-covered or scattered snow. And then the counties highlighted in purple, that includes Cass County here, all the way back through Bismarck. That's where we have a travel alert in place. And then anywhere where we have yellow, you see on our legend here, that means compacted snow or scattered ice happening. So more of that being reported to across much of eastern North Dakota. Let's look over toward Minnesota now. And similar reports coming in, the blues and the pinks indicating as we take a look at our legend, partially covered to completely covered roads. Looks like we have an alert here, a crash on Highway 10. This looks to be around New York, Perham area rather. Looks like there's a crash there. We had several reports of slide-offs over by Staples as well. Looks like there's a crash. Because of the snow, I-94 between, let's see, just around the Garfield area and just ahead of Alexandria, we are looking at a crash there as well. So again, lots of reports of some accidents happening here. I'll check some of our reports coming in. It looks like high winds being reported in the Frazee area. You can see the drifting snow. We're looking at, oh goodness, that's a good view of some drifting snow. Not so good for the driver who is having to drive through that, but this really shows what we're experiencing here, that drifting across the road. And then if you look in the distance, it's really reduced for our visibility there. This is in the Herman area in the Grant County area in west central Minnesota. So, and up in the Northern Valley too, let's take a look. We've got drifting across the road surface there, looking pretty bleak as that cold Arctic air is rushing in. And then back to North Dakota, I just want to make sure we're seeing what's going on in North Dakota as well. So let's turn our cameras on and let's take a look at Castleton. That looks pretty wintry there as well. Up toward the Binford doesn't look too bad. In fact, you can see the sun's come out there a little bit. We'll move up to the Northern Valley. Okay, this looks pretty rough. We got some plows out there working on the roads there. Up by Langdon along Highway 5. And over by, this is Michigan, not so bad, even a little bit of blue sky. We'll go in the Southern Valley. I'm just going to click through until I see something. Morton area, looks like we've got some snowy conditions, and you can see here that we've got snow blowing across the road on I-29. And I'll just pull up our website again, valleynewslive.com. Here's our home page. And then we'll go to our weather page. We'll take a look at some of our sky cams. The camera at the Dakota Magic Casino, let's see, it's showing, this is looking pretty snowy. We've got, the sun trying to break through the clouds a little bit there, but then we've got these big flakes, and you see the wind is really whipping those flags. There's that semi in the background that is driving on I-29. So we can see I-29, traffic on I-29 okay in this view, but this could change pretty quickly. And let's take a look at Grand Forks. Our sky cam from UND there showing busy traffic during this lunch hour and some overcast skies. Doesn't look too terrible there right now, but again, things can change pretty quickly, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so you can check all these out right on our website again, or you could head to our weather app. Now I'm going to, let's take a look at our radar now. Okay, so this is our radar and satellite map. I've got our black and white visible satellite on, trying to discern where we've got clear skies, where we've got some areas with some clouds and of course some snow. You can kind of make it out a little bit because we can see the snow and frozen upper and lower Red Lake here, so there's some clearing going on in that area. Basically where you see that gray movement is where we're more likely to, where we have clouds. Where it's white and no movement, that's the snowpack that the satellite is seeing. And then, of course, you see we've got some snow showers moving through one band. There's actually one moving through the FM area right now. We'll move this camera view here a little bit more. And a little heavier dose coming through around the Castleton area, north of Castleton toward Amenia, Arthur area, back down toward Mapleton. And then this stretches over toward Kindred, probably move through the Davenport area soon. So this is, we'll put this into motion. Oh, I went too far ahead, guys. All right, let's put this into motion. And you can see the drifting of it. It's moving southeast, south-southeast. So that's working through Cass County. It'll be pushing into Richland and Wilkin and parts of Clay County as well here. So again, you might run into one of these as you're driving today. And that's the thing is, our snow chances become less and less as the afternoon goes on, but there will still be that potential for an isolated round moving through that you might encounter out on the roads here today. So let's take a look at our visibility now. You can see it's a lot lower in Gwinner and in Wahpeton, less than a mile in those locations. At 1.5 miles in Mahnomen, Hallock at 1.25 miles visibility. Again, Wahpeton's less than a mile. So Southern Valley especially right now is looking especially blustery, we'll say, and with low visibility there. And then wind speeds, these have really picked up since this morning. We've got gusts that are getting into the 30s and even some 40s, a gust to 41 in Oaks. Check out Aberdeen, 52 mile per hour wind gust there, a gust to 45 in Sisseton. Now Fergus Falls is gusting into the 30s here. And notice that wind direction, it's turned to the northwest. And from this point on, we're going to be seeing Arctic air moving into the valley. It'll take its time to really settle in here heading into tonight and into tomorrow, but it's coming. So we are going to see that wind really stir up some of that snow. And I've zoomed in on this shot here just to show you some areas, more areas where we may have some strong gusts. Both Gwinner and Oaks reporting 40+ mile per hour gust. Valley City a 45 mile per hour gust. Again, Aberdeen's at 52. No gusts reported at the airport right now in Fargo, but Moorhead's gusting to 28. Jamestown again 39. So keeping an eye out for those stronger wind gusts. And actually, you know what? I'll go back to that graphic here, and we can take a look at the zoomed-in version here as we move our way through the valley, so everybody gets to see their location. I had highlighted that area because that's where it's the strongest, but Mahnomen, again, Detroit Lakes into the 20s, Fergus Falls, and now Wahpeton has a gust to 31. Let's move a little farther north. We've got some gusts again. Foston at 22 miles per hour, Grafton and Grand Forks around 30, Devil's Lake is around 30. It looks like Rugby 43 mile per hour gust there. So again, these gusts are picking up, and this will continue to be a factor for us into the afternoon. Temperatures, we are in the single digits to some teens for our temperatures right now. So this isn't bad at all for January. And we will see these numbers start to come down as that wind kicks in. But it's been nice to have a milder day before that real cold hits. And our wind chills are below zero in a lot of spots. So, mild, relatively speaking. We still feel like we're below zero in a lot of places thanks to that strong wind. Okay, hour by hour planner. We're watching these isolated snow showers move through now through the afternoon. We're going to see some of these bands continue to sweep through. The wind out of the northwest will have gusts, again, 20s, 30s, 40s mile per hour gusts happening here for us into the afternoon. So that's going to stir up the snow we got yesterday, the snow we picked up this morning, anything left over from the weekend as well. And so that's going to be a blowing snow factor into the afternoon, and the drive time for tonight, we'll likely see that. By this evening, still seeing some isolated snow showers heading into late night hours tonight. It's still a possibility, and it really doesn't start coming down until we get into tomorrow morning. And then it's just the cold blast coming in for the day on Thursday. Let's move ahead into our afternoon temperatures. So again, I want to just show you the difference over the course of the next 12 to 24 hours, how low we're going to get here. So this afternoon, single digits in teens this afternoon with the wind. Now let's look ahead to tomorrow morning. I've also got our wind chills up here. We're looking at wind temperatures dropping below zero tonight and into tomorrow morning. Once that happens, we stay below zero for days. So here we go. And looking at wind chills, in the pink numbers here, we're looking at 20s and 30s below in the Southern Valley, Northern Valley, 30s, 40s below zero. I can't rule out maybe even a 50 below tomorrow morning. And that's why that extreme cold warning is in effect there. We'll talk more about that coming up. And then moving into the afternoon, we'll go back to that graphic and show you. So Grand Forks at 8 a.m., 11 below. Fargo at 8 a.m., 3 below. By the time we get into the 4 o'clock hour, this is tomorrow afternoon, we go from 11 below to 17 below in Grand Forks. Fargo goes from 3 below in the morning to 12 below. So our temperatures are dropping through the day tomorrow. And you can see that we're going to have some pretty frigid numbers during the time of day we typically see our warmest temperatures. In the 3, 4 o'clock hour, we're going to be in the 20s below potentially already in the Northern Valley. So it's going to hit hard. Even on Thursday, we're going to be experiencing that cold and the wind chill factor for us as well. So looking at our wind gusts here through the course of the day today, we're going to see those gusts continuing in the 30s to 40s through the afternoon and evening hours. They do start to come down tonight, but that doesn't mean they're done. We may just not see that 40 mile per hour gust, and maybe more 20s to 30 miles per hour, which still causes some light drifting, and of course still factors in with that wind to our wind chills coming up for overnight tonight. So let's talk about what's coming. So the colder air is rushing in. We've got the clipper move in, kind of the leading line is the clipper and the snow, and then the colder air moving in behind it. Looking at our air mass forecast here, anywhere in pink, this white line, that is the 0 degree line. So anywhere in pink or purple, we're below 0. Anywhere in blue, we are below freezing, but above 0. So we've been above 0 today. As we work our way, this is 11 o'clock tonight. We work our way into tonight. Watch what happens. Here comes that Arctic air. It starts to spill in into Thursday morning. We're dropping below 0, and then we just continue to get that cold air surging in. This is 4 o'clock Thursday afternoon again, and that Arctic air continues to spread south and east. And look at these deep purples by Friday morning. Some really intense cold happening at that point. As we make our way into the day, we see that ease slightly, but it's going to just continue to be in this kind of cold core of air into Friday evening. As we work our way into Saturday, overnight Friday night and into Saturday morning, there's that purple again, still in this cold core of air. And this air mass just holds on. And so we're looking at Saturday evening, staying, of course, below 0. Sunday morning, more of that intense cold to start off the day. And then once we get into Sunday afternoon and evening, we see some hints, but we stay below 0. It's not really until we get into Monday where we see this air mass moderate a little bit, starts to move eastward. We see some milder air try to punch in from the west here into the valley on Monday. So that's the day we're more likely to get some relief here for us. Let's take a look at our latest alerts. So again, we have that winter weather advisory for us today for the blowing snow. For tonight, we have alerts for the cold. We have an extreme cold warning for places around Devil's Lake and in the Northern Valley starting, I believe it's around midnight tonight, late tonight, lasting through noon on Thursday. And then south of there, cold weather advisory, because we're going to see wind chills that are really low, but the lowest wind chills are going to be in this extreme cold warning area. That's through noon tomorrow. Now, beyond noon, we also have a headline, an extreme cold watch for everybody in the valley and beyond. We are looking at that starting up Thursday midday, Thursday afternoon, and that lasts through Friday, through Saturday, through Sunday morning at least. And so this is basically saying we're looking at the potential for this cold air to last for some time. And likely once we get through this kind of next 24-hour period, at some point we'll get this changed to advisories and warnings as well from the National Weather Service. And I just want to zoom out and show you how large this watch is. It encompasses a good portion of the Midwest, the upper Midwest specifically here. So again, looking at some conditions that are going to be rather tough. And that's the cold weather warning, the extreme cold warning. Looking at the blizzard warning here too, if you're thinking about traveling, there's a blizzard warning for places just north of Sioux Falls, the Brookings area, southern Minnesota, that I-90 corridor in southern Minnesota, and down into Iowa. So want to make sure we highlight that too for anybody who's thinking about doing some traveling. So these alerts that we're talking about might seem new to you. It's been around for a couple of years now. The National Weather Service has changed some of how they name their cold weather products, and same thing for some of our severe summer weather as well, to try to simplify the messaging and the wording to just streamline some things here. So what's changed is, we used to get wind chill warnings and watches and wind chill advisories. Well, now that's all encompassed with the extreme cold warnings and watches we used to get. So what that means is if we've got wind chills that are really cold, or the air temperature itself that's really cold, that's all going to be included in an extreme cold watch. And watch, of course, means that the ingredients are there. It's not quite here yet. We think it's going to happen. Warning means it's more imminent or it's happening. So same thing for the extreme cold and wind chill warnings. They're now extreme cold warnings. And the wind chill advisory we're all very familiar with has been changed, and this changed last year to a cold weather advisory. Again, it just means that it's cold outside, whether it's because of the temperature or a combination of the temperature and the wind bringing down our wind chills, making it dangerous to be out anyway, even if our temperature's not nearly as cold as the wind chill happens to be. So looking at this map here, this is from the National Weather Service, and you know, different types of weather alerts mean different things, so depending on what part of the U.S. you're in. So a winter storm warning, for example, might have different criteria. It does have different criteria here than in the south. And same thing for the cold too, because we're all used to different kinds of cold around here, and especially in the northern U.S. I'm going to pull this up full screen. We are looking at, or it's been full screen this whole time. Okay, we're looking at the extreme cold warning that remains in effect, or it gets issued rather, when we are looking at wind chills or feels like numbers at 40 below or less. And that could again be the air temperature. We don't see 40 below very often around here, but still. So looking at that combo of how it feels to be out there, whether it's the air temperature or the combo of the air temperature and the effects of the wind. And notice how in the northern U.S., the northern plains, our criteria is a lot more stringent. You have to get to 40 below for this to get issued an extreme cold warning, or at least the expectation. And say down toward places into Iowa, it's 30 below for an extreme cold warning. And it's a similar situation for the cold weather advisory. We need to have wind chills or expected wind chills to be at 30 below or lower for that cold weather advisory. Or maybe there's no wind and it's just 30 below. That would also prompt the issuance of a cold weather advisory. So hopefully that makes sense. And just a reminder that this has changed here for folks as we are talking about the coldest air, coldest temperatures of the season. Okay, so we are looking at, I just want to make sure, let's see if we have any questions. Let's take a little pause here. Okay, oh, I see a couple of folks saying they can hear now. That's great. Current snow totals. Shannon, do you mean for Fargo? Do you mean for the season? Just wondering. Fargo yesterday at the airport, there was a report of 7/10 of an inch of snow. I don't have a total from this morning's round right now, but we were expecting anywhere from a dusting up to an inch to maybe even 2 inches of fluffy snow. So we're somewhere in that range. Obviously, we've picked up some more snow this morning. So a couple of inches out there since yesterday in Fargo. And of course, that's on top of some of the snow we saw this weekend. I'm not sure what you're saying here. It says DLND 5 inches. I'm not sure. You're talking about Detroit Lakes, Devil's Lake maybe? 5 inches of snow in Devil's Lake. If you want to clarify in the comments, that'd be great. This is on Facebook if anybody is wondering. Okay, so we are looking at some of our coldest lows happening overnight Thursday night into Friday, and then overnight Friday night into Saturday. So those are both first alert weather days. This is without any wind. Our air temperatures themselves will be in the 20s below to near 30 below. Friday morning, I think it's going to be the coldest. Saturday, 20s below for a lot of places as well. But we may not have as much wind on Saturday, so our wind chill may be a little improved. Not really great in either way, but a little bit improved from Friday morning. Either way, still dangerous cold out there. So those are kind of our two main cores of that first alert weather mornings that we're expecting here. But this wind chill forecast is going to be tough, throughout the next several days. So this is starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow. You can see we've got wind chills in the 20s, 30s. We could even see some 40s below. Again, by noon, we're looking at those wind chills continuing to come down as our temperatures drop. And so by the time we get into the evening hours on Thursday, this is about 6 o'clock, we're looking at wind chills that are in the 40s below in spots, and even some 50s below once we get into the late night hours. So overnight Thursday night and into Friday morning, we'll be dealing with those kind of wind chills. Now heading into Friday midday, they improve slightly. Our coloring contours here show a big drastic difference, but it's not a huge one. We're still looking at wind chills 20s, 30s below. And then getting into Friday night, the wind won't be as strong, but we're still looking at anywhere where we have wind, bringing our wind chills down into the 40s. This is Saturday morning. Again, I mentioned we may not have as much wind on Saturday. Air temperature is still in the 20s below, and then just a little bit of wind may bring our wind chills down into the 30s below Saturday morning. And so as we're seeing our temperatures barely climb on Saturday, it looks slightly better Saturday afternoon, but we're still looking at wind chills teens to 20s below. And then once we get into Saturday night, we're right back down again. And those temperatures plummet. Our wind chills start to come down again as we get a little more wind on Sunday. And so Sunday morning, you can see we're ranging from some 30s to 40s, even potentially some 50s below on Sunday morning before we see a little bit of improvement. But even Sunday night, it's going to be very, very tough. So again, just want to stress, I mean, we're talking multiple days below zero, multiple days where wind chills are in that dangerous range. Okay, so looking at our 3-day planner, you can see that we've got temperatures today, teens. This will be the warmest it'll be for probably a little over a week. And then overnight tonight, we start to see our temperatures drop below zero. By morning, everybody's below zero. Then we're looking at the afternoon hours on Thursday at about 12 below for Fargo. Wind chills, again, already getting into that 40 below range. And then Friday night, our coldest temperatures into the 20s below zero, and wind chills that are even lower, 30, 40. Again, Friday morning especially, we could see 50 plus below zero, especially in the Northern Valley. And our temperature in Fargo on Friday afternoon, only 11 below zero. So we're stuck below zero basically overnight tonight, early Thursday, through the weekend. Sunday, it may be a tall order to make it to zero. We're going to try. But I have a feeling most of us spend the whole day below zero on Sunday, and it's not until Monday where we see those temperatures start to go up. It's not much, but it's nice to see that positive number here. And we'll be seeing that trend continuing into next week. We'll see some daytime highs above zero, and it really isn't until we get toward the end of the week that we get back into the teens where we are now. So it's going to be a long stretch. We've been through it before. We've done this before, but that doesn't mean it's any less dangerous if, you've had one winter in the valley or 60 winters in the valley. It's still just as hard on the body to be out in these kind of temperatures and wind chills. So a reminder to take those precautions to avoid frostbite, to avoid hypothermia out there. We want to make sure we are covering up, layering up, and avoiding being outside if you can. I hate to discourage people from getting out and enjoying winter weather during the winter season, but this is a time where it really isn't safe to be out there during these times where we're in that extreme cold warning. And so that's something to keep in mind if you're going to be traveling too, is to have your survival kit in your car, have your car gassed up, your gas tank above a half tank full at all times, your cell phone charged. Cold weather wreaks havoc on devices, on our phones, our batteries. Our vehicles have a hard time in it, so I want to make sure that you are prepared in case you do run into some trouble here heading into the weekend. So, just some reminders here. Don't want to scare anyone, but just want to, just stress that it is serious, and it's something that we do want to take to heart. So I'm going to pull this up full screen, our 11-day planner, and then just check and see if we've got any more comments or questions. Okay. Don't see any more or any answers to my requests on the questions that were asked a little bit ago. We do have more updates coming throughout the day and throughout the week here this week. We're going to hear more from folks from the weather team here. As we head into this afternoon, we'll have more updates to come. And we'll be tracking those temperatures as they take their downward slide, not just downward slide, they're going to be plummeting in the next 24 hours and then just continuing that into the weekend as well. So stay warm, everybody, and stay safe as we're working our way through this cold stretch here, heading into the second part of January. It's definitely going to be a far cry from the first half of the month when we were so far above average. And, I'll be back here tomorrow, too. We'll be tracking the cold during that time, and we'll continue to update you on, when the light at the end of the tunnel will arrive. Right now, it looks like more on Monday coming up here. And don't also overlook the fact that we do have blowing snow today. That's going to be a problem if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get out and get some groceries before I hole up in my house for several days in a row. If you are heading out to do that, just know the wind is strong. We've got blowing snow out there and some issues with visibility going on today too. So not ideal today, even with our temperatures in that above zero range for the time being. So again, stay safe, stay warm, and we'll be here for you, keeping you up to date throughout the course of this round of wintry weather. This has been your weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota.
There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.